Welcome, everybody, back to the Behind the Lava Lava podcast. My name is Spencer Harmon. I'm joined with my co-host, Milford Tiafala, Michael Tan, and we're joined today by a returning guest, THT Cyrus. Thank you all for joining us. We're going to get into it. And, just a reminder, we are the Fiapoco Samoan vets that like to chop it up on various topics. We're very honored to have THT Cyrus joining us again. My local Las Vegas, alum. We got to meet up sometime, bro. But first off, let's get into it. It's kind of a quick icebreaker question just to start things off. It's I guess there was some commotion that was drummed up recently at a Dodger game where they were singing the national anthem, and I guess there was kind of a back and forth whether or not the national anthem should be sung in Spanish, English, or should the national anthem be sung in other languages? So I'm just going to kick it to the panel. What do you guys think? The American national anthem, should it be sung in other languages?
So I think that the national anthem should be sung in any language as long as the lyrics align with the national anthem. I actually want to hear the national anthem sung in Chinese so that the Chinese can, hear. I think it's more of an insult if other countries hear the national anthem sung in their language. If they are, enemies or opponents of the U.S. So I'm on that. I 100% agree that it can be or should be sung in another language. But I prefer English because I understand it. But imagine the national anthem sung in Samoan. That would be awesome.
All right, T, what's your take?
Same deal. As long as it's the national anthem, it's the same lyrics. It's praising our nation. So no matter what language, that's fine. I mean, it's just a dumb argument to me for people to find something to get mad over. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, hey, it's the same thing. And even if it was an act of rebellion, it's not really rebellious. It's kind of in the same spirit, in which it was generated for. So it's a win-win without realizing.
All right, THT Cyrus, you joined us to drop some knowledge on us. What's your take, man?
Wow. So this is my first time hearing about this. So while you were putting it out there and you asked the question, I kept thinking of the Olympics and everybody's representing, their country. So my first initial thought was, it's the American National Anthem. Why not it just in English? But listening to everybody's, their side of it, their opinion, that makes sense. You represent everyone. We're Samoan, or we come from different places. I think the national anthem sung in Samoan, I was just to hear it, that's very intriguing. I would love to hear it. But yeah, that was one big icebreaker, Spencer. So so definitely I'm just thinking wow, what would it sound like, without disrespecting, if there's a country that's not fully on board or partnered up with us and they don't appreciate it. But I think for those who speak native tongues from whatever country, for them to hear, what we're trying to say in our national anthem, so, in a way that they would understand it. So yeah, that would sound cool, to be honest.
So these guys, they gave their points and they swayed you, man. So I'm gonna bring it back. I'm gonna try to bring you back to the dark side. It's man, don't be listening to these guys. I'm about to call ice on all of you guys. No, I'm just kidding. No, my only thing is look, I think as long as the spirit is still in, giving respect to the country, the host country, the U.S., let's do that. But I'm lazy, dude. I don't want to learn another language. It's like we really do have a national language here. You want to come here, assimilate. It is English, It's like I don't want to be Canada, where you look at the cereal box one. They don't get cool mazes and stuff on the back of the cereal box because one side's got to be English, the other side's got to be turned over and be French. It's like, no, man. I want my cereal boxes. I want my mazes. Let's keep it English. But no, I'm just kidding. No, I don't. Honestly, I think in the long run, it's harmless. I'm fine, especially like think of things like when do we know most often sing the national anthem? I think sporting events. Can you imagine like if we have a Cinco de Mayo boxing match? They usually sing the national anthems of what like the host country and the countries of the boxers participating. But it's like if you had like a Cinco de Mayo boxing match and they sing the American National Anthem in Spanish, I just think that's cool. But again, some people make it too political. Honestly, I think it's a harmless thing. But in the long run, I don't want to learn Chinese. I don't want to learn Spanish. Like I'm too lazy to learn Samoan. I will eventually, but so I'm just gonna side with the part that requires the least effort on me. So moving on from there, we are honored again to have THT Cyrus, man. Like we had you on. I think you're one of our first guests that we ever had on the podcast. For those who don't know, THT Cyrus is a recording hip hop artist. He's got bars on bars. You can find him on YouTube battling people. You can find him on Spotify with like these awesome anthems. Just wonderful music. So we're doing kind of a checkup on you, bro. How's things been? How's the music life? How's life in general?
Life is great, man. I don't know if last time we talked, I had a kid since then. Fatherhood. I believe I was still at my old house. I bought a house. Yeah, just a lot of daddy moves, pretty much. Just becoming a father. Slow down on the music a little bit just to focus on my son because my priorities started aligning with, you know, what makes sense as far as for my son. But yeah, man, yeah, life's been great. I've been feeling good, healthier. I lost a lot of weight. Yeah, just slowly trying to move in the right direction.
No, that's awesome. Now, I don't think you were a dad yet the last time that you were on the podcast, but I think that was maybe on the horizon. But it's been really cool to kind of like seeing your growth and follow you on social medias. For reals, you have some of the best music because me and T are both hip hop heads. We can appreciate bars and like your ability to like go in there and battle people. But when you listen to your music, it's music because there's a lot of rappers out there that they can spit some nasty rhymes, but they can't really hone it into a song. You're actually able to do both, and we've praised it. Like, and the last time we were here, you've dropped like an EP since then. You have it's very introspective. You have a lot of insight into your life. And but anyways, I noticed that earlier this year you made an announcement. You said that this is your last year doing music. Was that a kind of spur of the moment thing, or is that like, no, this is your last hurrah for real?
So the announcement and it altogether was 3 years from now. I'm going to call it quits. I just turned 33. So around 35, 36, I was kind of just came to that agreement with myself. Like, I've been making music for 22 years now. It's been a long, long journey. I know a lot of people, as far as a career or pursuing something, they tend to fall off. And I stuck with mine. I stuck to my guns. I really wanted to really pursue music. And yeah, finally it was like, you know what? Maybe it's time to slow down or calm down on it or trying to invest so much into it as I used to. But, you never know. Like it's been in my life for so long. It's like a limb. It's like a right arm, left arm. It's always going to be there. So I might continue to, put out music, but probably not promote it as much So you might go on Spotify and see 100 more songs, and then just like, wait, where did this come from? Like, why didn't Cyrus say anything? It's because music's always been in my life. But yeah, I had a talk with my fiance and told her this is how I feel. Because when she met me, I was on a hiatus from music, so she didn't know like how deep into music I was, and then finally came out, did the whole like downhill and like finally free, you know. So she got to witness it firsthand, and you know, I have a new love, and it's my kid, and being with my son. Like, I don't miss music as much. Like seeing my son, teaching him how to walk, teaching him how to talk. This kid's a genius now. He can count to 50. He turns 2 uh, next week, and he can count to 50 and count to 10 back, or count backwards from 10. Like, my kid's a genius. So it's fun to do that, and just to be a father, and to be an artist. Yeah, it's cool. It's fun, but it's one of those. It'll always be there. All my free time to my son. That's my priority. Music will fall in eventually.
Well, welcome to fatherhood, man. That was one of the coolest things to see was the hype before, the excitement you had. And then as soon as, your baby was born, your son was born, then it was just all about him. Nothing about music, just like new parents do. Million pictures, million videos of every little thing. That was pretty cool to see. So, quick question right now, since we're discussing fatherhood. Before your son was born, what were some of the anxieties, worries you had before he was born, and after he was born, like, going through it, how have things turned out, in reality? Like, did your anxieties come true, or did you find ways to cope? Like, how was that little journey just from that point until now?
Yeah, so for me, it was just me thinking about my personal life and what I went through, and I didn't want to mess up. I didn't want to do something or say something that just alters everything that he may feel towards me. So, the kid wasn't even born yet, and I'm thinking of him as a teenager. Like, man, like, how am I gonna, I'm just, my mind is scrambling. But no, I just wanted to make sure I was a good dad. I was, I didn't have my biological parents in my life, and I was taken in by my grandparents, and that's who I call mom and dad. And I just kept thinking, what would dad say? What would mom say? Like, you know, and unfortunately, both of my parents passed away before I became a parent. Myself, so I can still hear them, in the back of my head. My dad yelling in Psalm 1 told me to, you know, like, to take care of my son and make sure I'm doing things right and don't be so hard on him. You know, playing that, but now that anxiety actually it went away the second my son was born. The situation, like, he was born a whole month early. My son, yeah, he decided to show up early. And Friday we were at the hospital just doing a routine checkup, and then the doctor walks in and says, "Yeah, let's just do it this weekend," and then walks out. And I'm like, that happens. We get moved into a hotel room. Saturday's my baby shower, which I don't get to go to. Sunday, my son's born, and then that Wednesday we're at home. But the Thursday before, we had just moved into my new house. So there was no easing into it. Right when we came home, I had to come home with a newborn and had to build the crib. Like, that's how fresh we were into the house. So yeah, I got lucky. My son, all the advice everyone was saying was like, yeah, when you try to get as much sleep as you can because he's going to keep you up all night. Yeah, no, my son was a nighttime sleeper. So I got to sleep all night. He never woke me up. He was pretty awesome. So yeah, all the anxiety, it was more mental. I just wanted to do things right, and you're never truly ready. And when he showed up, the way he did, I just got thrown into it. But yeah, no, I love it so much. Being a father and seeing how he is right now. He's about to be 2, and he has a lot of my characteristics. So yeah, I love seeing it.
And that's the thing about fatherhood. Once the kids pop out, now we have to think about their future, and we're constantly, well, for me, I'm constantly worried about the things that I say, my actions, to make sure that they turn out to be decent human beings. But my kids are 8 and 10, and from the looks of things, I think I messed up somewhere. They are good kids, but I think when it comes in terms of discipline, we've disciplined them. We're a little bit too harsh on them, and that, you worry about your kids have self-esteem issues and all these things mentally, and you start to see it when as they grow up. So, but our jobs as fathers never stop. The mothers and the fathers, our jobs never stop in trying to guide our kids and give them the direct them in the right ways, instead of following what we went through. But I've accepted the fact that we are not perfect as parents, and that we will constantly make mistakes, and hopefully our kids will turn out better than us. So, how about you, T?
Same deal. Now, there's a whole lot to unfold because my 2 oldest are on the spectrum. So there's, the regular things you have to worry about with fatherhood and raising your children. But then there's also the worries about, are they going to need people to take care of them? Am I going to be able to teach all the things they need, in time to cope with everything? And time is the biggest, whatever, don't have enough of it, and it's a learning process every day where nothing's perfect. It's screwing up, messing up, and you get down on yourself. But fortunate for me, I've been blessed with the ability to just look at that, have determination to try to do better the next day. I don't always do better the next day, but I always have that mindset that I'm looking forward to. Like, all right, I screwed this up. I see how it affected everybody. Let me try to do this better. And that's what keeps my mental going. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't get trapped in, the negativity of things. I mean, I can sit there for a while. Sometimes I'll willfully brood, or just sit in my sadness and feel sorry for myself. But then, after I'm done with that, my whole thing is, what am I going to do to solve this problem? Like, I can't just sit here and cry about it. Like, I could talk to someone, or I can keep trying. Either, no matter what, the bottom line is find a way and keep going. And not just for me, but for the kids. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, right on. Now, and the thing is like Cyrus with it seems like it's funny how like blessings kind of come when you need them or whatnot. And I don't know the exact timeline for you, but I kind of imagine that your son came at a time that you kind of needed him, because if I'm correct, that's around the time that I remember you dropped that Mama's Boy album, and that was a lot of introspection about the loss. Like, you lost your mother around that time. And that was a really insightful one. Like, you had, just talking about the whole dynamic of being raised by your grandmother is really your mother, right? And then but also like you have uncles, but they're really your brothers because you grew up basically like siblings and stuff like that. But around that time of loss, or someone who's basically in one of the most important roles someone ever plays in our lives, along comes another person to fill another role in your life. Do you want to speak on that at all? Or?
Man, I thank you so much for bringing that up because, I lost my older brother at the beginning of the year. And then in the same year, I lose my mom. Or I gained angels. I wouldn't say I lose them, but I gained another angel, and I I was losing my mind. Losing my brother. I lost him to COVID, and I couldn't be at the hospital for him. He passed on, but because I ended up having COVID, so I'm in a room alone. It's dark, and I'm trying to survive the thing, and I can't be there for him. So it was hard. I'm struggling. I was doing interviews, still sick, and I was really trying to get through losing my brother. And then my mom, like I'm not even over, losing my brother, and it was so much, like there was only so much my heart could take at that point. Like getting the phone call before from my sister who says, "Hey, mom's in the hospital," and just be honest, my faith isn't that strong. Even though I grew up in the church, and I don't pray often or at all. If anything, I started praying lately. Like, now that I see my son, I was like, I want you to have a relationship with God, and it's going to have to start with me. So I started doing that, and I prayed for the first time for my mom, and it there's so much. The week before my mom, or the 2 weeks before my mom passed away, my dad visits me in my dream. Like this all blends together if I can go into it. He visits me in my dream, and I see him. We're in like one of our old houses. He's in the garage, and I'm like, "Hey, man, I haven't seen you in a minute." Like, and he says, "Yeah, I want to talk to you." And so my dad tells me, "I want my wife back." He tells me this 2 weeks from the day my mom passes away. And in my dream, I'm being selfish. Like, no, you had her. You had her when you were here. Like, this is my mom. Like, yeah, she's your wife, but this is my mom. Like, you know. And so in my dream, I'm crying, fighting him. Not fighting, but like, stop. Like, leave, get out of here. Don't say that. Woke up. I told my girlfriend the dream. I was like, "Hey, this is what happened." And she was like, "You know what? Like, you should call your mom and just check up on her." Called her every day. And then finally she passes away. Like, after my dad tells me that in my dream. And it's exactly 2 weeks before, the dream happened 2 weeks before she actually passed away. And so comes to the day where they take her to the hospital. And, I'm in bed. I find out late night, and then I actually prayed. And I didn't know what to say. And I finally just said, as her son, and hearing her every day talking to her on the phone, she always said, "I'm tired. I'm sick. Like, I really miss your dad." She used to tell me that every day on the phone. And so I just took that into account, and then I prayed to God, and I didn't pray for her to heal. I just prayed that he would accept her, flaws and all. Like, if this is it, like, you know, give her the fast pass. Just, send her straight to the front of the line, and that way, you know, you know that she'll just be with my dad again. And so she passes away, and this is where it comes to the point where you brought it up. It's the month that we have to bury her. My girlfriend gets pregnant that month. So we bury my mom, and then a couple months later, she walks into the room and says, "Babe, I have something to tell you." And so she walks into the bathroom and she does a pregnancy test again, just to make sure. And she says, "Babe, I'm 2 months pregnant." And it was from the date that we buried my mom. So I honestly feel like it was a gift from, my family up there. And they were just, you know what, we won't be there, but here's something. And like I was saying, like my heart couldn't take, you know, there's only so much my heart could take. It was like all the dark thoughts, all of the pain, all the hurt. It was like it just cleared out, and then it was like, all right, now you have something else to focus on, or you have someone to focus on, and yeah, like the whole how everything happened, like it really was beneficial at that point.
No, that's what's up. I mean, what a gift, especially like from that dream. It's like, had it not been for that dream, that's 2 weeks worth of conversations you might not have had. And so to get something like that to just shake you up and to get those last combos in before the passing, that's pretty special. And and again, 2 years in, again, congratulations on birth of your son, because obviously, like, the outlet for your love that you used to filter through music and other things, you got another outlet now. So I can't speak to that yet myself. Maybe someday. In the meantime, I just work security and I keep sunning these people that come in. No, I'm just kidding. No, but no, that's special, man. And again, I just wanted to say my relief that you got your exit strategy. You got a few more years of music then going out, but it's nice to know that, hey, you never know, you might get a little surprise on your Spotify saying, "Hey, THT Cyrus just dropped something new." I was wondering what your thoughts were on this, because like a while back, Michael Rappaport made a documentary about A Tribe Called Quest. It's a really good documentary too, just showing a lot of the dynamics of the group, like in different stages of their career. But this was before Fife died, and it shows like Q-Tip and Fife always had their like button heads, like they're back and forth. But I remember like at the time, Fife was dealing with like diabetes, and he had these health issues. He was just kind of focusing on that. But at the same time, Q-Tip was trying to do his solo career and stuff. And Tip was talking about what he loves about music is that when you look at like an athlete, they take all these years to hone their skills, and but they only have that window where they're in their prime, where they can cash in on all that hard work. But eventually you're just going to be too old, and you have to move on. You have to move on from that thing that you invested so much time and effort into. But he says, but the thing about being a music artist is that I'm always in my prime. Like, you never grow too old to do music well. At least that's what Q-Tip was saying. Like, do you feel like there's something to that? Like, maybe sometime down the road, you just get that spark reignited. Son's going off to college, probably he's like 15 because he's a genius. So he's already going to college, like something like that. Do you think, what's your thoughts on that? That as an artist, like, you don't really have to worry about growing out of your prime.
I agree with it 100%. You only get better, whether it's your penmanship, your lyricism, your thought process, your content. I with my son now being here, I want him to be able to say the words and understand what I'm saying. So my music already comes with a message, but now it's like from a father's perspective, because before it was just THT Cyrus the rapper. Now you get Cyrus Hitonata, the father. And yeah, no, I definitely agree with it. I I know, like, going back to what you said, as an athlete, if you're not practicing, if you're not stretching, if you're not going through that routine of that daily routine of how to get better, you're going to lose a little bit as you get older, or whatever. Like, your speed starts going away. Like, you can't gain that anymore. As far as like a rapper, and then for how long I've been doing it, and and stuff. I'm never gonna lose. Like, like if I were to stop right now, I'm never gonna lose what I am at this point. Whatever kind of rapper I am, whether it's a lyricist or battle rapper, like I'm never gonna lose what I am at this point. And then when I choose to pick up that pen again, it only gets better. So yeah, definitely agree. Like it's music as an artist, we don't lose this. I'm not gonna lose this mentally or anything. Like it's always gonna be in my heart, but you know, until it's my time to go, I'm always gonna be an artist at heart.
So you guys all heard it here first. He has not even reached his final form. So now that all of these themes kind of tie into another topic that we wanted to discuss. At time of recording, it's June, and it's Men's Mental Health Awareness Month. And you've given us a lot of insights through difficulties, things that you had to go through, and we're appreciative of that. But we kind of want to discuss a little bit about Men's Mental Health Awareness Month. I'm going to kick it to Michael because I know that this is a topic that, mental health is basically like the foundation of this podcast. Like it started out and we had some things to hash out. Michael, you want to lead the charge on this one?
Every year this month rolls out, but it's difficult to reflect on it for me because I don't know what to say every single time this topic comes around. The most that I can say is talk on my experience when it comes to men's mental health, because I like to share my experience because it has the ability to help those who are going through the same problems that you are going through. So I like to tell the story of one of my darkest times a few years ago before I moved to Clearfield. How I lived in Kaysville, Utah. We were renting there, and one of the nights I just sat on one of the wooden swings that was attached to one of the sycamore trees behind on my backyard. And it was, I don't know what time it was. It was around 9, maybe it was late. I think it was late. And the thoughts that were going through my head were all bad. I was going through a very hard time with just life in general. And at that time, I just thought of just going back in the house and grabbing an extension cord, because that was probably the only thing that could hold up my weight if I hung myself from a branch of the sycamore tree. But luckily, my wife stepped in. She stayed with me outside the whole time. Had she left me alone, I think I would have attempted to off myself that night, because I was dealing so much back then, financially, relationship, thinking of myself as a failure, as a husband, as a father. I didn't like my job. I still don't like it to this day, but I just have to deal with it. But just everything. I don't like to call my mental health issues as demons. I don't refer to them as demons, because that's just putting a religious aspect to my problem, which I don't think is anything religious. It's just a problem in your head that you're trying to overcome. So, but yeah, I'm just grateful to be here. There's many times throughout my life that I've tried to off myself, but this is just one of the times that I've I overcame, and I'm glad that I'm still here. It's also the seed that planted from that moment that started the podcast, which led to us starting our foundation. So I'm just glad that we're able to talk about men's mental health on our platform, especially around this time of the year, and we're able to help others tell their story, because one way to overcome our mental health issues is to combat the isolation. Just reaching out to someone and basically forcing them to like tag along with you is one of the ways that I try to combat like suicide. That's why I recently started for our foundation the monthly veteran dinner meetups. So every month veterans meet up together. They have dinner. They pay for their own dinner, and we just have conversations and just have a good time together. So that's one way of bringing veterans and people together is because everyone needs companionship. No matter who you are, even though you're an introvert, you still need companionship to kind of improve your mental health. So, but yeah, that's my story, and I'm glad just to be here. But real quick, for our listeners, I want to thank THT Cyrus for our theme music. Our little jingle on every episode that we have so far, THT Cyrus sings at the last. It's placed on the end of our episodes. So my girls love it. So every time I'm editing my videos and I place that music, Cyrus's music at the end, they sing along. So I really appreciate you, Cyrus, for creating our jingle. I think it's called a jingle. But that's our theme music for our platform, is the music that's sung by THT Cyrus. So I really appreciate you, Cyrus.
No, thanks for sharing that, Mike. And I just wanted to let everybody know, THT Cyrus and I both live in Las Vegas. If you're in Nevada and you're going through any kind of a mental crisis or anything, the Nevada Mental Health Hotline is 866-903-3787. But whatever state you're in, whatever you're going through, seek help. I'm glad that Mike did and that he's still with us today, and we're able to do things like this podcast, meet rappers like THT Cyrus, and it's all a big positive loop. And so, like, for myself, like, I've never quite taken my mental health too serious, because I'm one of those people that I like to ignore problems until they get too bad. But as of last month, I finally hit a breaking point. I went to the VA, and I'm very fortunate that I have avenues to get help and whatnot. It's gone well since then. And so it's just one of those things that once your life starts getting better, you're like, man, it could have been like this whole time. I didn't have to be suffering like this for a while. Like, you never know. Like, try it out. But I encourage anybody going through anything, reach out to your people, your family, your loved ones, and reach out to some professionals that are there to help you out.
Speaking of mental health, it's a great topic, but do you guys see it being somewhat commercialized by people and social media and stuff? Like, oh, my mental health, this is for that. I mean, at the end of the day, at least it's a good thing that, people are putting it out there. At least, the hashtag, the phrase, those two words, at least, the very least, that's getting out there. But do you guys notice any kind of shadiness by people out there trying to capitalize off of people's struggles? I mean, it happens with a lot of different struggles. People are going, dirtbag opportunists are going to find their avenue, see it, and attack it. But like, I just roll my eyes sometimes scrolling through things, and and it's wrong of me to judge. We don't judge people here. But at the same time,
we listen but don't judge.
Yeah, I've been a professional dirtbag with bullshitting. I've been great at that, and I can notice that from a mile away, or 2 feet in front of my face on the screen.
Or for that, it kind of makes me like, personally, when I see stuff like that. Remember, I mentioned how some women, they create social media posts teasing men especially during this month. Teasing men, especially men's mental health. They're trying to get all that likes and views. But for me, it's seeing it being commercialized or social media, from all sides. It could be the men crying and they, try, we can't tell if they're faking it or not. Or it could be someone attacking the men, just like the women who on the social media. But it kind of affects how I view things, right? It kind of makes it hard for me to come out and try to tell my story. Like, I've been invited to a lot of men groups, men support groups, but I am very hesitant to go out there and share my story, mainly because of that. I don't want people to think that I'm faking these things, because it's already hard for me to share it. Like, I when I post my own video of me talking about my story on social media, it's hard for me to even watch it. But at the same time, I have to look at the big picture that, someone is going through this, and people personally reach out to me and say, they do go through the same problems, and thank you for sharing your story. But that's how I feel about the whole commercialization and getting likes on social media when it comes to men's mental health. Is, it's a tricky subject, especially us trying to navigate these kind of problems.
So I remember, I know exactly what you're talking about, T, like with this whole thing, because it's like there's people that make entire personalities out of their I don't know, their quirk or whatever you want to call it. And that's why, like, for me, I'm also very hesitant to be like, oh, I have this, I have that. I'm like, you know what? I'm not qualified to make that distinction. It's like, am I depressed or am I just bummed out or sad? It's like, you know what? Let me talk to a professional and he can make that designation. But I'm not gonna declare something for myself. But you go on Instagram, social media, and people are like, "Oh, I'm the autism girl. I'm the like the Tourette's person," and it's just like, okay. And I'm like, I'm not even doubting that you might have it, but it's like, is there maybe an element that you're playing it up because that's what you're known as? There's this term called social contagion, right? And I remember like reading about this phenomenon. Is you remember in the early 2000s, like I don't know about you, but when I went to high school, there was a big campaign addressing eating disorders in young women, specifically bulimia, anorexia, etc. And the funny thing was, is people that were collecting this data, they noted that in places like China, there were no recorded issues with these with these conditions, right? But as China started opening up and importing more cultural stuff from the West, they started getting exposed to Western media and saying that this is a thing that they talk about in movies, talk about in shows. And it started to track that all of a sudden these eating disorders started appearing in China. And it's like, and so like they just kind of refer to it as a social contagion. By just being aware that this is a thing, some people just default to having that thing. Now, I'm not saying that all mental disorders are like, people copying people, but there's just something there about that where I'm just like, I try to be careful to just declare that I have a thing because I'm not a professional. I was like, I'm just going to try to live my life as best I can and seek professional help. Let a doctor make that designation. That's my opinion. I don't know about you guys.
And then dealing with mental health, Cyrus, on our previous episode with you, we discussed a little bit about you growing up and how you had anger problems, very, very angry Samoan kid. But we look at you now on the outside, without even knowing your past, people are going to see this calm, chill dude, with the silky voice, got the ASMR voice on this mic going on. Would you be able to tell us a little bit about how you overcame that angry guy and with everything going on in your life, you could easily resort back to that angry young Cyrus. Can you tell us how, just daily, how you're able to get through that through the past and now, what you do with this new aspect as a father too, to remain on top of your thoughts?
Yeah, so I definitely still deal with my own mental health issues. Growing up, how I say my grandparents are the ones who raised me. That didn't come with like a pat on the back or from now on everything's going to be okay. Like I didn't get a ticket that was punched right there that said everything's going to be okay. Growing up, I was always made fun of because my parents weren't around. And this is coming from family. Like, your mom's this, your mom's that, your mom's not around. Meanwhile, my biological father is in prison and he has 9 years to do. And within those 9 years, I was talked down on. I was there's always that kid that's with the grandparents. Like I was always treated different than everyone. So my brothers and sisters, who are my uncles and aunts, like they didn't see me as their little brother for a very long time. Like I was a nuisance. They would question like, my grandparents, like, why would you take him in? Like, out of all the kids you could take in, why him? And, I used to battle it, you know, I'd get so angry, like, why are you talking about, my biological mom? Like, why are you guys talking about her like that? Or going to see my dad and he has an orange jumpsuit or he has his blues on, and going to see him in county jail and you just have the glass in between you and you have to talk to, through a phone. And then another grown man has to tap him on the shoulder and say, hey, inmate Sitangata, like, your time's up. And then watching my dad walk away and then asking my mom, like, when's he coming home with us? When we leave here, when does he come with us? And, for 9 years, I battled that, like, and then finally, because my mom, she disappears and then she finally comes back and I go back to her. And again, I didn't get a ticket that, punched that said everything's okay from here on out. And as I'm getting older, I'm learning my parents are divorced now. I don't know that. Like, I don't know that my mom and my dad, who's still in prison, like, they split up. And having to learn right away that life is not going to go the way you want it to. It's going to go the way you need it to. But that doesn't mean you're going to be okay with it, like how things go. Like, the route that you're going to go on, it's either you're ready to buckle up or you're not, but it's going to go that way. And things happen for a reason, because through that, I have a very loving stepfather who gave me my first two baby brothers and sisters. And, looking back at it, now I look at them like, you know what, like, without him, I wouldn't have these two. They're in, one just graduated high school, one's in high school. And I'm like, wow, like, I'm the old guy now because, going to see these teenagers, picking them up from school, and my lingo isn't cool anymore. Like, I take the little wins. It's the little wins. Like, I lost a lot. I lose a lot. But the little wins, like, you know what? 99 things did not go right today. But that one thing, like, that one thing meant the most. And it went well. And, yeah, throughout life, like, how T was saying, like, I was so angry. I was angry at my family, and these are the people I talk about in my songs. But it wasn't always like that. I have a song called Heal, that was on my Mama's Boy EP. If you listen to that song, I'm talking about pretty much everything I'm saying right now. Like, people would stare me down. Like, even though we have the same last name, we look alike. Like, I'm your brother's son. I thought you guys would love me, and yeah, I wasn't. Like, so I grew up like I was the kid nobody loved, and I took it to heart, dude. And going to Samoa, because my dad gets, he gets sent back. So I go back to Samoa. I'm in Apia. My village is Lokofanga. So we're on the southeast side of Upolu. And hey, the guy I've been waiting for this whole time. And then finding out he doesn't like me. He doesn't like how I was raised. I wasn't, he grew up tough. He's real Fa Samoa. My family is very Fa Samoa. I'm a part of the first generation born outside of Samoa. So for thousands of years, we're back on the rock. But I grew up, happy go lucky, and I, looking at my family before at LAX before hopping on the plane, like, man, I'm gonna go see my dad, and then he tells me, "Why do you walk that way?" Like, they pick up your feet, like kicking my feet. When kids walking, they just skipping and stuff. I think that was the one good thing that I took. Is like, yeah, I don't do that anymore. But but it was just the little things. Like, why do you laugh at stuff like that? Like, why are you always smiling? And in Samoa, learning, like, well, like, what's wrong with that? Like, and coming back to America, and my whole family is like, man, you went back to the islands. Like, there's people in my family who've never been back there, but they speak full Samoan, and their Fa Samoa is really good, but they've never been back. They wouldn't know their way around, and yeah, it was slowly just taking losses. I came back to the America, and I just wanted to be the baddest gangster. I wanted to fight everyone, and I got really good at it to the point where now the cops are always at the house. Mr. Sitagata, yeah, Cyrus did this to the liquor store, or Mr. Sitagata, Cyrus did this, and now I'm always in the back of a police car, or the cops are always looking for me, and yeah, I just kept dealing with stuff, and then losing people every year. From the day that my dad was incarcerated when I was 4 up until now, I lose people every year. People pass away in my family, and I'm from one of those families that's really big, but people pass away every year. So you get used to losing loved ones, and in the end, the reason why I smile now is because I do share my story with a lot of people, and I tell people, the people I love most didn't love me first, and like, I had to work through it. Like, it was hard, going to like family functions and kind of playing the guessing game, like, oh, who did they sway over to where now they don't love me anymore? Like, now I'm a nuisance for being a part of this family. And yeah, man. So when I talk to people and they say, why is it so easy to talk about your life? It's like, because it was hardest to live through.
Would you say that your music is a type of therapy for yourself? Like, would you call it therapeutic, putting that music out there? Because you do vent about these personal things you're touching on. I've heard this stuff in your music before.
Yes and no. Again, music is just a part of me. So it's pretty much everything I'm thinking is just now in music form, but those thoughts are still there. Like, it's not just music for everyone to hear. It's like, I still struggle, you know. So what I tell a lot of people, I'm an introvert, but then they can't see it, while I'm at work and I'm laughing, we're joking, but when I come home and I'm sitting by myself, which I absolutely love, I'll say that, like, I love the isolation. It's because I'm in a surrounding that I can control. All the struggles I went through in life, it kind of caused me to not be so trusting of people. regardless of what they looked like, because, hey, people with my last name really didn't appreciate me being around. But now, as THT Cyrus, and I'm telling all these stories, my family loves it. Like, our bond is so strong since losing my brother, since losing my mom. Everything comes full circle. Yeah, it kind of hurts them because I have family members who won't listen to that, certain songs, especially Heal, because they know what I'm talking about, and it hurts their heart. So when I talk about how, in the song Heal, I'll talk about how one of my older brothers, the one right above me, he passed away in a car because my brother who's above him was, driving drunk, and he fainted at the wheel, and my brother passed away due to that car accident. And I speak about it in the song, and I say it. And it's hard for him because he accepted that it was his fault. Like, till this day, he's another guy dealing with mental health. And how I deal with it was the only reason why I hurt really, like, most from that was I was the one who was supposed to drive that car. But I left early. Like, I left early because I was tired. And the only reason why I was with those guys was to drive them home. But I didn't. And 3 hours after I left, the little function we're at, they get into a car accident. And I wake up the next morning. My brother's dead. Now my brother has to do time because of it. My brother, who, was driving, he's out now. High spirits, but I don't know what he's dealing with because he's not talking about it. So, yeah, I can definitely see music as in a way of therapy. But how I feel is like you guys are listening to my diary at this point. But yeah.
Man, that was a pretty heavy childhood. Pretty crushing. Like, to be honest, very crushing, especially, when you're a young child and the main thing you want is, your family's love, especially when you were always, hoping for it, looking at them. And then they just kept crushing you. Then you go with your father, and then that thing happens, man. Because I know we've all experienced it on a small level as children, where we have some excitement, with our parents or whoever it is, and then boom, just in an instant, they may not be in the best mood or whatever, and then they say something, and instantly, that little happiness inside us gets crushed in that moment, and it kind of scars us. Those generational scars. Some are deeper than others, and you had some of the deepest from what it sounds like. So with that, I want to ask you, what kind of advice would you give a young kid if some teenager happens to listen to us out of our 5 listeners? Yeah. What kind of advice would you give a young Cyrus or a young kid where you can recognize the signs that they're going through the same type of deal?
To be honest, to the people listening, like, it's not over. That's how I look at life. It's not over. I've tried ending my life multiple times, swallowing pills, shooting myself, jumping off a bridge. Like, I've tried to take myself away from this world as much as I could. And I've tried multiple times, and I'm still here. And when I say it's not over, it means that what you're going through may not be the end all be all. You know what? I refuse to let it be the end all be all, because a year from now, it may not even matter. 2 years from now, it may not matter at all, like, completely, or it's not even a memory anymore. Like, yes, I still have these memories and things that I went through, but it's not over. When I had that issue in Samoa with my dad, guess what? I talk to this guy every day. He teaches me how to be a Makai. to how to get my fa Samoa back, what it's like to be in Samoa, and the politics that they go through. I hear it from him first, and it built that relationship of, okay, this is how you are, this is how I am, let's meet at the middle. And we've met at the middle. The family members that I had issues with, now they look to me for answers. So it wasn't over. Like, nothing's over. It's that, your issues are going to happen. Everything's always going to be a roller coaster, but remember, there's an end to the roller coaster. It doesn't stay on a continuous loop. You got to keep moving. Yeah, with my example, I kept running into things year after year, month after month. But guess what? I came out on top. Not as a gloating way, but life had happened the way it did and put me into a position to where now I can kind of breathe those life words into my son and, make sure he'd never experience that. I tell him I love him every day just because I didn't get I love yous. Like, I tell my son every day, I kiss him, when it's time for him to go to bed, I always tell him, I love you, my son. I'll see you tomorrow. Ever since he was born, I'm going to continue that until he moves out of my house when he's 18. I'm going to continue to tell him that I love him every day. So yeah, life isn't over. Life is not over. It keeps going, and you're going to have to keep going with it. So just be strong, one foot in front of the other. Again, it's easy for me to tell my story because it was the hardest to live through. So yeah, be that positive story in the end.
Hey, thanks, brother, for sharing that with us. I really appreciate it. It's like, like you said, it's not over. It's not over. No matter how dark your times are, because when I look at Cyrus, you listen to his music, he's got profoundly positive music. Sometimes you may not even understand how far this guy's come, and it's like, so you give us a solid reminder of just that by giving us this check. It's like, hey, I didn't start here, and now here you are, father. This is what I would still, I guess, consider your healing phase. It's like, and it can be good times to come. It reminded me of forgive me because I'm not trying to trivialize your story, but like I'm a big fan of like movies, shows, like the metaphor of stories is like kind of impacts me a lot. And you reminded me of like there's the Back to the Future movies, and Back to the Future 2, they go into the future and their lives suck. Marty never stands up to his bullies. He ends up getting fired at his job. And then in the third movie, at the end, they go through this crazy adventure. But the girlfriend had saved the picture that said, "You're fired." And then she pulls it out at the end, and the words, "You're fired," just disappear. And she asked Dr. Brown, like, what is, like, wait, it disappeared. He's like, of course it disappeared. She's like, well, what does that mean? He says, your future hasn't been written yet. No one's has. Your future is whatever you choose to make of it. And so I like, even though they had literally been to the future, they're like, that's just one future from a certain chain of events. But knowing what you can prevent that bad stuff from happening, And so like, it's not over. Your future hasn't been written yet. You're writing it every day that you live and take a step forward, Be like Joe Dirt, life's a garden, dig it. Got to keep on keeping on. It's like, sorry, now that is trivializing your point, man, but I appreciate it, man. Thank you so much for sharing.
So on the last episode with Cyrus, I said he was the future. He still is. Just people, you need to check him out. He puts himself a little bit out there in social media, but he's not all up in everybody's face and asking for this and that. But hey, everything I said back then still stands to this day. If you need evidence, just check out his music or check out, what was it, The Blueprint, that you did with them, his performance of his song Yes, up on his Mama's Boy album. A freaking smooth live performance right there. Like straight up, no no editing, nothing, just straight up him raw. And you see how talented the man is. And then just when you listen to it on the album too, what his boy Sean Flacco spits on there is amazing too. Like, you guys need to check him out, man. Everything I said back then still stands. The cadence is smooth. Hey, and as you've heard from this episode, the stories are real. Just check them out.
You know what? Who you remind me of, Cyrus, is Mareko. So he took a little break and now he's back at it, pumping out some music.
And just real quick too, I just wanted to ask you, just while we're back on the music subject, you're dipping your toes in and out into the future. You got a plan like for the next few years, what you're laying out. Who's somebody that you have not collaborated with that you would like to?
That's a very long list. I'm a big music head, so it's not just hip hop. I love rock. I listen to country, even like EDM, obviously R&B, soul, reggae. But if we just keep it on the hip hop, no, Young Go from Inglewood, Tongan rapper, phenomenal. I don't know how he's not famous already, like as on par with all these West Coast artists. But I'm a huge fan. If we just stay on the poly industry, but everyone else, like my idols, like DJ Quick. If I could rap on his beats, that would be fantastic. My favorite rapper of all time, Scarface. If we, it's on the bucket list, but if we could have a song where we say, hey, this is the scenario, we're robbing, or I want to go rob a bank and you're trying to tell me not to, and we start storytelling towards each other of why I'm doing it, and he's trying to say why you shouldn't, and that would be phenomenal. Babyface, to me, he's the greatest of all time. I think Babyface, like no one's better than him as far as like a songwriter, because I mean, New Edition, Boyz II Men, After 12, like everybody's, or they're, I don't know. Babyface is the GOAT. He's probably the one guy I would faint if I met. But yeah, those artists I would love to collab with.
That's dope. And just on a fan side, I just want to see you collab with one of our other former guests, Uptown Sweet. You can both talk about battling your inner demons and then healing through fatherhood, because like there's echoes of your lives, like kind of aligned. There's parallels there, so that'd be dope. He's doing his thing. Shouts out to Uptown Sweet. Shouts out to Digital Martyrs, The Seed.
If I could add on to that, Sweet is like he's on the Mount Rushmore of Polynesian rappers. Like he's I don't know why he doesn't get mentioned more. Like shoot, I didn't even think of him. I was thinking more present, but like Sweet is he's definitely on the Mount Rushmore. So yeah, no, thanks for like shouting him out. He definitely needs more props. He needs more love. But yeah, shout out to him.
Hey man, I the first time I ever met Sweet was when he came out to Vegas. So hey, when he comes back out, me, you, and him, we'll all meet up.
And don't worry, Cyrus, if I live long enough to hold our own concert, you'll be one of the singers or rappers in our concert.
I'll do it for free. Just give me a pass that says I can eat at any of the vendors for free. That's really my I'm gonna put it in a contract. Yeah, don't pay me any money. Just let me eat at any of these vendors for free.
That's what's up. All right, I think I'm gonna go ahead and wrap it up. Unless you guys had anything else for Cyrus, or Cyrus, did you have any parting messages you wanted to give us? Or?
No, I wanted to thank you guys. I love seeing your work. All the videos, the interviews that you guys do, the events you go to. I really do watch those. The reels, the TikToks, like I really do sit there and watch all of those, and just it's almost like a tagline, like, "Hello, it's Michael Tan from Behind the Lava, and I'm here with like like I like look forward to those I just love seeing what you guys are doing. I respect it. Like, that's my biggest thing. Like, I respect it. I love what you guys stand for. Again, thank you for having this platform and reaching out to, our people and letting them speak and really being that platform to help push others forward, because it's, to me, it's all about service, and I think you guys have definitely done that, and I want to thank you guys. I watch, so we may not speak on a daily basis, but no, I love watching what you guys do, and I really support it. And if there's anything you need from me, if you need another anthem, a little jingle, just let me know.
Oh yeah.
I can definitely do that. But no, I thank you guys. I really do appreciate what you do, and I really respect it.
That's awesome. Thanks, bro. We appreciate you. And so, ladies and gentlemen, THT Cyrus, thanks again so much for gracing our podcast again. It's been great catching up with you, and everybody be sure to check him out, show love, show support, and stick around for the outro, because that's where you're going to hear some of his bars. So, again, thanks everybody. This has been Behind the Lava Lava. Thanks for joining us. We'll catch you next time. So, fuck.
Working on my interests, it's who I am. I'm trying to make these digits look like EINs. When the help ain't free, you all help me. Salute to folks who turn their names to LLCs. The wealth is in itself to help a non-profit. To be better women or better men, whether business by veterans or common folks with a dream. We're all born with the same strength. We tread waters that were untouched. Let's be on the same wavelength. Behind the lava, front of our eyes. Let our legacy live off it when we're up in the sky. All signs point to us to help someone make a difference. With God as my witness, let's talk business.